All right. Sorry about that. Anyway, as you're looking at this, welcome everybody to the stream, and also like, subscribe if you're seeing this on YouTube. Also, please definitely like and subscribe. And I just want to drum up my numbers so I could reach more people with this stuff. And if you have any questions and you're on live, you can ask them. And if you're watching this after the fact and you have questions, I'll probably will be sharing during the stream on how to get a hold of me, but you can also leave them in the comments, okay? And with that, we're going to continue working on this dragon and the dagger today. So, yeah, let's go. Let me do one thing here before we go. All right. Okay, so I'm still kind of establishing the face on this thing. So I'm just going to go down in subdivision levels, bring up my polyframe here, and continue to refine this. And I'm thinking there probably will be some sort of a face shot, so need to work on this dragon's face. I probably will give him horns at some point. I have click to solo on, which allows me to quickly switch to one tool and display the rest by just one tap. And that's over here in my UI. But if you guys want to find it, it's under Preferences and Edit, and it's right here, allow click to solo. You can turn it on and off. I have it on for now, so if you see me click and then just get the tool I'm working on, that's what's going on. All right, and it just helps me speed things up, but sometimes it does get annoying, especially when you have to click once on something. All right. Also, let me change this material. It's neat, but I don't think... Let's try this one. Here we go. All right, so let me take a quick glance at my reference here. Choose a different mask. I'm just masking the bottom part of the mouth. I think I got a little bit of the top too, but not that big of a deal. Of course, I could, the better way to do this, and I think I am going to do it, is to use polygrouping. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the select lasso and select just this part, and then Control-Shift-X to grow it out. All right, so this is going to be kind of the top part of the mouth. And I don't think I need these guys. Here's an instance where the click to solo might not be as effective, but it's fine. Okay, so now I've got the top part. I'm just going to do Control W, and what that's going to do is polygroup it. So now if I just want to work on the top part of the mouth, I got a little bit of the bottom here. All right, no worries. turn double on so I can see. I think that's okay, but I can still hide some of this as well. All right, just a few more left here, and I'm being really picky. I don't really need to be this cautious, but I just am. It's too much. All right, I think that's good enough. Let me do a Control Shift. Just one more. All right, that's good. All right, so now I've got two polygroups, one for the top of the head and one for the bottom. And that way, if I don't want to work and affect the bottom part, I can just select it by clicking on it. Oh, here, I masked it. Hello. All right. All right, so see now I've got the, now that's a interesting look there. All right, I'm just gonna mask, oops, this part. So I did this thing where I can have my silhouette kind of be see-through, which is kind of nice, but then at some point I don't know that I am on the silhouette, so I intend to do this, which makes it bigger. I wonder if it'd be cool if they just had like a little border to this, but anyway, doesn't matter for now. Let's bring everything back. Okay, so we're back to where I was, and what I'm trying to do here I'm thinking of bringing in, I'm going to choose yet another material here. Let's see, let's choose this one. No. Do I have, let's just do Skin Shade 4. It's funny how I've been iterating on the head for a while, and every time it, I change it a little bit more. All right, so now I'm just going to invert the mask and then work on the bottom part of the mouth without affecting the top. Looks like we have a bit of an intersection over here. That's interesting. All right, the best way to get rid of something like this is using the inflate brush, and that separates them out. It probably wasn't intersecting. It probably was pretty close, though. I've got the same problem here. So you can see it from the inside. Right, if I you can see that this part here is getting pretty tight, and I don't really need it to be that way, so I'm just going to use inflate. And that fixes that. All right. So I think the primary forms of the head I'm pretty happy with. I don't think I'm going to be working on those much anymore. I mean, the proportions are good. Everything is great on this head. And it's going to be a lot of fun working on the tertiary parts of it. I think I'm good on the secondary parts as well. I'm really, I don't know why, lately I've been really digging this ZBrush from Pablo Munoz Gomez. I think it's a pretty neat one. I don't need this lip to be as pronounced, so I'm giving it a little bit. I want it to be there, but I don't want it to be like, you know, really super, no Botox, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. All right. All right, I probably will work on the teeth next, but I think I've been on the head for a while. Let's move on to some other parts of the body. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for me to just maybe put the dragon over here. Let's pick a different color. Let's shift S this guy over there so we can always see what we're working on. All right. Here I just changed the color to a little bit of a darker color because it's easier to see where the intersection is here. And I want to nail this intersection correctly. Here I'm taking a lot of liberty with the anatomy, but I'm also trying to put in some marks that kind of are familiar. And notice I'm working here in pretty low resolution, right? And I'll probably retopo this at some point. But right now I just want to make sure I'm getting Might want to make these ears a bit more prominent too. It's always a bit of a struggle to figure out how this works. I think this might do it right here. Let's see, is this dynameshed? It is. I think I'm going to reduce the resolution here. It's a bit too wobbly. All right, I think I'm going to polish this a little bit and then see if that gets rid of some of this wobbliness. Nope. How about polish by features? All right, that's a little bit better. I don't know if I need polygroups on this guy, so I'm going to get rid of them. I think I might even go lower. I wonder if this works the way I think it's going to. Yeah. All right, that's looking good. All right, I'm having a little bit of a struggle figuring out how to connect this thing. So the closest thing I can think about to something like this is that dinosaur in Jurassic Park that like did this kind of thing and then spat on the bad guy. I think I'm gonna try and see if I can. Didn't want to do that. All right. All right. Let me do a quick YouTube or a Google search here. Well, it seems to me like it's just connected. Yeah, they don't really have a anatomically correct connection. It just is like the circle around the neck. Like the entire neck is this thing. So, all right, I'm not that far off. All right. Good to be doing things the right way. The only thing is that, and I'm going to try it, is that it's further down here. And I'm just giving this a try to see if it works better. Then I can give it some horns, but let's see. I don't know. I think I like it where it was before, and I can still give it some horns if I want to. All right, I'm going to give this thing more teeth later, sticking out and all stuff. It looked pretty gnarly. All right, so I'm happy with that part. Let's switch over and do some work here on the legs. Is this Dynamesh? It is. Let me reduce its topology. It's too much still. I think that's about right. I was watching the dragons in House of the Dragon, and they were really lanky and long, and I don't know. I mean, they look okay, but I'm kind of going more towards something that's more anatomically sound. Again, there are no real dragons, so. But I'm basing this thing's wings on a bat. And then the rest of it, just like some sort of, you know, I'm still kind of referencing human and worldly anatomy, just so it is more believable, right? It's all about the suspension of disbelief. So here, it kind of looks like it could be some sort of animal. here I'm just trying to establish how this would be. All right, so this part is okay, like so. I need to look something up real quick here. Actually, I have a book that I'm going to go get for this, so just a second. A really good book on animal anatomy is this one right here, which is by W. Ellenberger. And this is kind of my go-to book on anything anatomical. And it's got really great diagrams. It's a nice big book too, so it's got some good. All right, so I'm gonna see, like, I think I looked at a dog. A dog looks good, but maybe a cat or a lion or something like that might be a better. A horse's legs are too small. This would be something like more like a bear or a lion or something. Okay, I've got a lion here, and here we go. So I'm kind of I'm going off of this image right here that has the musculature and the bone structure. So I'm just going to put this somewhere here where I can keep looking at it. Actually, I wish I had this in a image form. All right, I think kind of get a sense of how this is. All right, back to the action here. All right, so I don't need to see the topology, and I could subdivide this just once, get one extra level subdivision there. So if I just kind of very roughly put the bone in here, it would just be this way, right? And just, should probably do this at a lower subdivision level. Yeah, this is good. Okay. So once again, the bone this way, oops, and then this way, and this way, and then these here are its toes, so to speak. Turn perspective off here, and I don't know what happened there. Okay, and bony landmark mark over there, another one over here. And these are just for my reference. And the interesting thing is I also did a little bit of research on where the person would sit. And I looked at, again, Game of Thrones is a good reference for this kind of stuff. I looked at Game of Thrones and how they have their dragon saddle. And it would be somewhere around here. Can't imagine somebody riding on these things for a long time, but they do in the show. Right. To do something real quick here. At this point, I'll just be adding little bits of detail, secondary shapes as I start seeing them. Yep. And nothing friendly about this dragon. It's just all right. I do have its wings, as I mentioned last time, and this is what they look like opened up. I bet everybody right now is watching Battlefield streams. Battlefield 6 beta streams. And my son was playing that a little bit today. Seems like a lot of fun. This will kind of have to be more like a hand at some point. All right, so I had an earlier version of it kind of folded up, but I think I'm going to still keep that, but duplicate this one, and actually this is kind of the right size. I'm thinking, you know, if this thing's going to fly, it's going to need some big wings. I could probably make them a little bit smaller. I have to duplicate there, which I'm going to get rid of for now. I'll create another one later. Oh, this looks good enough. I want these to be a little bit longer. Again, I do have a plane here. That thing masked. I can't seem to be able to move it. Is this another one? Oh, it is. Okay. This kind of gives me an idea of what the span looks like. Maybe a little bit more this way. So I can double this thing up. I'm thinking maybe a little bit more. Something like that. Okay. All right, I'm going to let this autosave real quick. It's a rather big file, so it might take a minute. All right. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of a lattice on this. Deformer soft. Let's add a few more spans. All right, mask this, move this up, mask this, move this up, and now I kind of have more of a nice curvature to it. And let's accept that. All right, so I definitely have the open wings, and now let's work on the closed ones. Which would be something more like this. They intersected, that was the problem. So here I'm gonna do it again, but make sure they come pretty close, but not touch. All right. Okay, and then just mask this. Did I move to another subtool? No, I'm still on the wings. Why is this not moving? Oh. This. So this is about what it would look like with its arms collapsed. Yeah, it's really interesting to see how bats walk and run. If you could find a video on YouTube, I'm sure there's plenty. It's kind of a really interesting to see how they run and collapse their wings. Again, this is all not final, it's just a placeholder, just so I can get an idea of what it looks like. I probably will redo these with Z-spheres. That's the best way to do it. All right, this is looking good. All right, so I do have a pretty good understanding of how this is going to work. If its wings are collapsed, it just walks around like this. It probably will have a claw or something over here. And then when it's flying or it's going to fly, its wings open up like that. And again, from a concept designer perspective here, I'm basically solving problems. I'm solving problems of how this imaginary beast would fly or be at rest. Upon looking at this thing from far away, I noticed that this deserves some level of continuity with these spikes. So I'm lowering the bottom part of them a little bit. Man, I'm listening to music while I'm doing this, and the band Leather Strip does a really, really cool version of Soft Cell's Baby Doll. Man, so good. All right, a little bit more work on the tail, and I think I'm going to move off the dragon and move on to the dagger. All right, I'm gonna hide the wings because they get in the way. I don't know why this thing wouldn't have a tail it could kill with, and it's, I think, a bit too much. All right. So it could do one of two things. It could either stab with its tail, or it could use these to kind of, like, as a flail, or not a flail, but a mace. All right, it's a bit too thick. I'm really liking the silhouette over here. And it is coming together nicely. All right, I wanted to try some horns on this, and I'm not going to sweat it. I'm just going to insert just a simple cone 3D. And I'm just going to Dynamesh this thing. That's good. I'm having so much fun with the dragon, I might not even get to the dagger, but we'll see. Smear and weld it. All right, so to get rid of this pointy part, I'm just going to very quickly switch to the Sculptress Pro. And again, I haven't really decided whether I am going to have horns or not, but they seem to work really well. And this is another time where the lattice in or the soft deformer soft here comes in handy. Actually, it would help if I had my gizmo in the right place. There we go. I think the deformer is going all the way here because there is a part over there. So like when I did the Sculptress Pro, there could be like a little piece. So the best way to get rid of that, Control Shift A and delete hidden. Yep, that was the problem. And now I got exactly what I want. I think that's good. Let's accept that. Mirror and weld it to the other side. Let's activate symmetry. All right, that's good for the horns for now, and I'll probably change them up a bit next time, do some more research into horns and where they grow from. I have a feeling probably, I'll try it now. I'm trying to see if it looks more convincing if they're growing out of the sides of his head. I'll play around with this for just a little bit longer, and I think, oh, that actually isn't too bad. All right, so I'm going to zero mesh this at half, get the resolution down as much as I can until it doesn't go any further. I think I'm there. Yeah, it's not giving me any less resolution, so that's fine. I'm almost tempted to try this other thing. Like, what if this piece is attached to the horn like this. Kind of looks pretty cool. Nice little happy accident over here. Love it when it happens. Look at how much of a comparison it is from the way it was before. Right? Before, after. All right, so I think that's good enough for the dragon. I'm going to go ahead and drop a quick save. And then we'll start working on the dagger for the rest of the stream. We got another maybe 40 minutes to go. This is probably the best part of my week, when I get to just sculpt on stuff I want to sculpt. And nothing work related, just trying out new things. All right. Okay, so that's that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the dagger is... Is this it? No, this is the sword. I do have the dagger somewhere. Is it this one? No. Here, let me do this first. Let's see. It's not that, not that. No. Could it be this? Oh, yep, here it is. No, this is a sword again. I thought I had the dagger somewhere in here. Did I mean, I could remake the first part. It's not that big of a deal, but I think I have it here somewhere. I think I can delete this one. This is kind of the skeleton of the sword that I have. I just basically, whenever I need to make a sword, I start from this. But I thought I did have a dagger developed quite a bit from last time. What's this? No, not what I want. Nope. Here we go. All right, so I kind of had a handle this one. I think this is what I was working on last time, and it's okay, right? But I think I want to do something a little bit different. I'm not too happy about this part. So I'm going to do something different for that part of the dagger. All right, I think for this one, I don't really want this top part to be there. All right, so I want to collapse this, and probably the best way to do it is this. I'm going to unmask the rest and just do this. Here we go. This is from my cylindrical kit bash kit that you can get. There's a whole bunch of different parts like this, and I use them all the time to get cylindrical shapes that are interesting and kind of have a starting point. All right, this is looking okay. Go up a little bit like this. There we go. All right, so to put something over here, another option is to put in a spiral. So I'm just going to go choose a Helix 3D. I'm going to choose this one. And actually, I could probably just insert one here. All right, something like this, and then I'm just going to inflate this up. And then let's give it a little bit of a polish, not like that. Divide it once. So the minute I divide it, I kind of get a softer version of it, which is not what I wanted. So I'm going to divide it without smooth subdivision levels and then divide it again. And then give it a bit polished by features. All right, that's okay. What I want to do here is polygroup these two. Right, and I'm going to choose these parts and mask them. Let's see what this looks like if I do a bit of inflate on these inside parts. Or go the other way even. No, I think inflate might work better, just a little bit. And give it a bit of a polish. Right, so that created an interesting handle. All right, so I like what I did, but I don't want it to be kind of diagonal like this. So I'm going to try and do the exact same thing without having it be diagonal. So to do that, I'm just going to go in here in the lattice, or whatever this thing's called. I'm going to delete this one. And I think I just have to start with a fresh version of it and then initialize it to the way I want it to be. So where are you? Let me reset these and lattice. Helix 3D. Okay, there it is. Now this is the one we were working on. I think here we go. Helix 3D. All right, so this is what it looks like. And this is not the way I want it to be. So let's see if I can. I don't know if this one will do it, but let's try. Yeah, I can add more coverage, but I think, oh, is it the offset? All right, no, let's do this. All right, this one, I want it to be straight. Profile. Yeah, I don't think this is it. All right, so this one isn't going to do what I need it to do. So I'm just going to delete this one. And there's another one they have, I think Spiral 3D. No. All right, so I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to do a Ring 3D. Go back to my sword over here. Shoot, where was it? Here we go. All right, so instead of this, I'm going to hide that. I'm going to insert one of these guys. Of course, I probably could have inserted a thing from my Rings 3D. Okay, and then I want this to be fatter. So I could have either initialized it that way, or I could always go in here under deformation and inflate it. All right. Maybe a little bit thicker. Like about there is good. All right, then I'm going to do the same trick with selecting, polygrouping these two. Maybe these two also. Right, let's see what this looks like. Looks okay. I think another thing I might want to do is try one other trick. See what that looks like. Yeah, it's not bad. It starts there. All right, now kind of a power trip. Oh, here we go. Okay, so power tip. If you want to create repetitions of this, you hold Control and do the first one. Then let go of Control and keep moving the gizmo up until it gives you all the instances you want. And I think this is good right here. And there's what we want right there. All right. All right, I'm not too happy with a couple of things on this. So luckily I can go back. You can see how fast I can iterate the design. And that's one of the big advantages of using ZBrush. And I think the thing I didn't want to do is have this be protruding so much. What would this look like? All right, let's try this. And again, I'm not worried if I add more, I can always remove them because they're separate objects. I'm not happy with that one either. I like the first one. It just, one part of it was a bit too much, which I think is this one. There's something else I want to try here. I'm basically taking the mask and blurring it, but I don't know if that's what I want to do. Okay, so I want this one to go out, but not as much. Okay, that's good. All right, let's see if this one works better. All right, yeah, I like this one a lot more. All right, let's do a soft deformer on it. And I will mask these two. Maybe not the last two. Just mask these guys. All right. I don't know if I want this last one. All right, going back to this piece, I'm going to add an edge loop. And I could add an edge loop, or I could use slice curve, which is what I'm going to do, just so I can get it exactly where I want it. Right there. All right, so another power trip. If you don't want to change your polygroups, just mask it and do it. And that keeps the existing polygroups. All right. And then I'm just going to select this bottom part. Actually, I need to add one more edge loop right here. And I think this is what I want. Yep. So I'm just going to mask it, bring back everything else, invert the mask, and make this part a little bit thicker. All right, looks like I need one more edge loop. I want to undo all these things that I did. And I'm going to have to do this the painful way, which is using ZModeler. But the challenge is getting the edge loop to go not up and down. But I think I can do it. I just need to zoom in. All right, what I want to do is insert this polygon, do nothing, and edge, insert single edge loop, that's good. Pop one here, add one more, and then add two here. Like that, okay, and then I'm going to polygroup this poly loop. Okay, and then this is the one that's going to get to be wider. I guess I could have Q-meshed it too, but that's fine. This should work. All right. right. Another thing I just thought of that might be cool, and I think I'm going to try that as well, is to add another ring. And this could be a different material. Now this would have been smarter to do before I did the lattice, but it's okay. I can probably do it right as well. Just did a few extra here. Of course, I deleted one less than I needed to here. I'll do it this way. Transparency. Okay, so these are the ones I'm going to get rid of right here. It doesn't seem like they're all where they need to be. All right. It's probably because it changed the size of it. I'll do both ends. All right. I'm having to do these individually, which means they're not going to be as evenly spaced, but that might add some visual interest. And I can have these be two different materials, so the inside ones could be metal, and the outside ones could be leather. All right, one more. What are these on the bottom? Oh, it's okay. Inadvertently added a few. Oh, I see what was going on. Right, I don't want any of these. Now the other thing I'm kind of worried about is, do I have any overlaps? A good way to figure that out is to go into ZModeler and choose Delete Island. And if I do this, now that one went away. That one, I think I'm fine. But it's always good to make sure. Yeah, I'm good. All right, so just to kind of make my point here, I'm just going to go ahead and choose a, let's see, a shiny orange, or let's do a red one for that. And mRGB, or let's say RGB, or just M, fill object. And then let's go back to AK plastic or some other. Let's go to Z metal. All right, so that's kind of going to be the differentiator, is that the inside parts are going to be a different material, probably metal, and then the other ones are going to be like either some sort of rubber or leather or something like that. All right, so there's really no ornate stuff on this dagger, but I'll add it later. Let's look at the, so you can see this is really, really very simple geometry. And I'm just going to add a slice to it over here. And another one over here. I'm trying to see if I can do something interesting with the base over here. All right, we're doing good on time, so I think I've got maybe another 12 minutes or so. It's looking more like a stiletto dagger. I think I might just I want this to be, let me get the right angle here. Okay, so I just want to activate symmetry in Y. And I want this to be a little bit, oops, that's not what I wanted. What I want is just to make this flat. Did it on the top one too, that's good. Then just give this a bit more thickness, center it. There we go, that looks pretty cool. I'm still kind of worried about this area over here topologically, so let's see what's going on. Okay. I think if I stitch these two, it should be okay. Stitch, not stitch, but slice mash, starting here to here. And do it on the other side. All right, so the perfect music for this just came up, which is, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's Heilung or Heilung. It's kind of like Viking music. It's pretty good. All right, I want to mirror and weld this in X and Y just so I can, oh, not like that. Maybe not an X. Okay, I don't understand why it's doing this. Why does it think that's why? Oh. Okay. I want to mirror it in Z is what I want to do. Close. All right, so what I want to do here is just get the sword to be even on both sides. And this is the side I want. Let's see if this will work. Nope. Of course, it's always the other one. One more time. Okay, here we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now let's get it back to where it's supposed to be. All right, so we've got a pretty good base for the dagger, and then we can start adding details to it. I'm kind of liking this more. I'm going to mirror and weld it in X. All right, I think that'll do it for the dagger. This thing's probably got really little geometry, so I'm manipulating. Man, I could not have picked a better song for this, for what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to give this thing one subdivision level and start thinking of maybe one more. Maybe not yet. Oh, no. You can see it's really very low level geometry. And I'm going to mirror and weld this in X and Z. And what I want to do is add subdivisions to this. So I'm just going to do it manually. And I'm going to do insert multiple. Something like that. Might as well do a few here as well. Nope. This is kind of like manually subdividing it almost. Okay, now if I press D, I'm going to get something very similar to its shape. But now I've got a lot more polygons to play with. I think for now I'm just going to stay with this. And I'm not going to mess with this much, but this one. All right, I think the problem I'm having is I probably should mirror this thing in both. Let's leave it at that, press D. And I want to mirror an X and Z because when I'm pulling these, it's making it non-symmetrical. And interestingly enough, this is kind of going with the design language of the gills. See, just kind of a neat thing. All right. And now I can subdivide this and all right, we're almost at the end of the time, but I think I'm just going to go a little bit longer because the song that I'm listening to is perfect for what I'm sculpting. I rarely get that kind of thing happening, but yeah, here we go. If anybody is interesting to listen to the song, again, the band is Heilung or Heilung. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the song is called Othan, O-T-H-A-N. It's so good. All right, that looks good enough. Now what I want to do is just duplicate this. Turn transparency on and make this wider. Right. I want to see this band live. They look like they would be awesome to see live. They've been in LA a couple of times and I've missed them. So maybe next time. Right. Again, working with very low poly here. Mask. Poly loop. Or no. Is there mask? Edge loop complete. Let's mask all this. All right, I'm going to insert an edge loop. About here. I'm actually going to abort this save for now because we're almost done, and then I'll save it after. All right, so again, if I touch this thing with smooth, it because it's really low res, and I think this is good. Add a subdivision level. Maybe not with smooth. All right, we got a pretty cool dagger going here, and I think this would be a great place to stop this one. All right, so if you're watching this on YouTube, nobody joined me live today, which is fine. I would be doing this anyway. And if you're watching this on YouTube, again, remember to like and subscribe And if you have any questions or whatever, you can get a hold of me on my Instagram. Let me share that real quick, which is right over here. And it's just instagram.com/Kermaco. And I don't know if you can see it. Let me bring this down right here like that. And if you click on my link tree here, it gives all my socials and all that stuff. So you can either send me a message on LinkedIn, on LinkedIn or on Instagram, and I can answer your questions then. All right, with that, I want to wish everybody a good day, night, whatever time of day you have. Happy ZBrushing, and I will see you. Okay, so the schedule is kind of going to change a little bit. Next week, Friday, I'm taking off, and then the Friday after, I'm going to be on ZBrush Live, so I'm going to pick this back up in September. All right, thanks a lot again, and let me make sure what I just said was right. Yeah, so next week is off, and then the week after, the 29th, I'm on ZBrush Live, and so the next time this will continue will be on September 5th. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.